Absolutely. So I completely support the idea of Dorit, especially as in many parts of the world, we see more and more social division. We now also have to confront the situation that a lot of people are really in a mobility poverty. So that's something, also a concept that we as Greens have been fighting for, also in the context of the Social Climate Fund, that we really see that people cannot get a job because they are in a situation of mobility poverty. So they're living most of the time in rural parts of their country, and that really are struggling, where every euro counts, and really are struggling in general financially. And then it would be very important that, especially for those people, free transport should be a possibility, also in order to have a real inclusive society. So it should also be not only affordable, but also accessible for persons with disabilities and reduced mobility. So completely agreeing with Dorit, that should be the minimum, that for those population, public transport should be free. That's, of course, a very good question. So where do we get the money from? First of all, let me come back. What is really the use, or why it is so important to have at reduced prices or even free public transport? It is really to have a modal shift, to have less CO2 emissions, to have less traffic jams, and as we already said, it's a social measure that we have it's also a social measure there, so that no matter what your economic situation is, that you have the possibility to move through, and that you have also the possibilities to travel in general. We know that at 100 different places, cities in the world, we have already free public transport. And regarding my country, Luxembourg, I think it's the only country where through the whole country you can move, you can travel for free. And if I analyze now the situation that we have in Luxembourg, it costed this free public transport now costs 41 million euros per year. So, and that's only 8% what the whole infrastructure and the whole service is costing. So 8%. So in Luxembourg, it was really progressively. First of all, it was free for certain populations, for example, for students. And then to make the step to make it completely free for everybody, it only cost this 41 million euro per year. But to think where in general you can get the money from would be, for example, that you have to pay when entering in the city, that you have to pay if you don't have a disability, or that you have to pay more for parking, or that you introduce some taxes. Of course, it needs some investment, and it needs money to make it 100% free, without losing or without aiming at more efficiency of public transport. I'm happy that Franka comes with this point, because it's exactly, I completely agreeing with her. It's not only making public transport free, then everybody will jump on public transport. Certainly not. It has to be reliable. It has to be efficient. It has to be not too much overcrowded. I must say, in the morning, if you are in an overcrowded train, you may but take it sometimes, but if you can avoid it, you avoid it. It has to be reliable if you have an appointment. I mean, if systematically there are delays, I mean, then you say, okay, now taking 1 hour and a half because I have to take the earlier train because there are always delays, it's not going to work. So indeed, we have to invest in the better, more efficient networks. We have to also invest in digitalization in order that we have a better coherence between different timetables. If every time I come with my bus and I have then to catch a train, I have to wait 40 minutes, I mean, that then I'm losing too much time. So it's also important, the efficiency, that the different transport modes are coherent. So a whole analysis is to be made in order to make it more efficient, and also to reach out what solutions we can have also for rural areas in order to connect them with important points where you can either take a train, a bus, jump maybe for some also on the bike if it's possible. So indeed, that is it's a whole concept that has to be resolved. It's not enough to say we make it free and then it's going to work in any case. No, certainly not.